Hi everyone. In this video, we will talk about a method for graphing linear inequalities. This method might be different than what you've seen before, but I found that many students like this method better than using the test point method. For this new method, the steps are: step one, get y by itself. And if you divide by a negative, remember to switch your inequality sign. Then you're going to graph the line. If you have a less than or a greater than sign, you're going to use a dashed line. But if you have a less than or equal to or greater than or equal to sign, use a solid line. One way to remember that is if you have a solid line under your symbol, you're going to graph it with a solid line. Then we're going to shade. Since you already got y by itself, if y is greater than some stuff, then you're going to shade up or above the line. However, if y is less, then you're going to shade down or below the line. So our first example here is to graph 2x minus 5y is less than 20. We're going to start by getting y by itself, which means we have to subtract 2x from both sides. That leaves you with negative 5y is less than negative 2x plus 20. To get rid of the negative 5, we're going to divide every term by negative 5, but because we divided by a negative, you have to remember to switch the sign. So now it's going to be a y, but it's not going to be a less than, it's going to be a greater than 2/5 x, because negative divided by negative is positive. Positive divided by is negative, so 20 divided by negative 5 is negative 4. So now we've got y by itself. Your slope of this line is 2/5, which is your rise over run. Your y-intercept is the ordered pair 0, comma, negative 4. That's where you're going to start your graph. You are going to use a dashed line because you do not have the equal sign under your symbol. And because y is greater, you are going to shade up above the line. So to make a graph, we're going to start by putting an ordered pair at the y-intercept 0, negative 4. Then we're going to use the slope, rise up 2, run 5 to the right to get to your next point, then keep going all the way across the graph paper. You are going to connect those points with a ruler, and then connect them with a dashed line. Just here to make a good dashed line. So we connected our points with the dashed line, and now, since y is greater, we are going to shade up above the line. So I want to shade up above the line. And there you graphed your inequality. Let's do another example. Hold on a moment while I get this screen ready. Okay, let's do a different problem now. We're going to do, let's say, 3x minus 2y is greater than, let's say, oops, I lost my y, greater than or equal to 12. First up, we want to get y by itself, so start by subtracting 3x on both sides. That means you have negative 2y is greater than or equal to negative 3x plus 12. Then you're going to divide every term by negative 2, so that you have y is what? Well, you divided by negative, so you have to switch the sign. Y is less than or equal to 3 over 2x minus 6. Your slope is 3 over 2. Your y-intercept is the ordered pair 0, comma, negative 6. You are going to make a solid line because you have the solid line underneath the symbol. And you are going to shade what direction? Well, since y is less, you are going to shade down below the line. So we're going to start the y-intercept of negative 6. And we're going to rise up 3, run 2 to the right. Keep going to find the rest of your points. And then connect those points with straight solid line this time. And because we have y is less, we are going to shade down below the line. Below our line is over here on the right, so we're going to shade over here, and you've made your graph. Let's do 2 more examples here really quickly. We're going to do this next one. I'm going to say y is less than, well, let's just say less than 4x plus 2. Okay, so here y is already by itself. That's nice. Your slope is going to be 4 over 1. Your y-intercept is going to be the ordered pair, 0, comma 2. It's going to be a dashed line, and you are going to shade down below your line. So we start at the y-intercept. Use your slope 4 over 1, rise up 4, 1 to the right, rise up 4, 1 to the right to make your whole line. And you're going to connect those with a dashed line. The ruler is kind of cumbersome, so I'm just going to do my best by hand. And then we want to shade down. Let's see. Down from the line. If I pick any point in the line and go down, what side do I end up shading? Well, I end up shading this right side. So pretty much the same thing as we've done. Okay, I know I had said we only have 1 more after this, 2 more after this, but they're both pretty quick. Okay, next one. Say y is less than negative 3. We say, wait, there's no x's. Well, if there are no x's, this means that it's going to be a horizontal line. It's actually going to be a dashed horizontal line, and you're going to shade down because y is less than negative 3. So make a dashed horizontal line. Use a color you can see a little bit better. Dashed horizontal line there at negative 3. And you're going to shade down. Make sure you go all the way to your line, but there it is. Okay, one last example, and then let's call this a video. We're going to graph x is greater than -3. So wait, it's just an x, there's no y's. That means it's going to be a vertical line. It's going to be dashed. So let's do that. Let's draw a dashed vertical line at x equals -3. Go to -3 on your x-axis. Make a vertical line. And let's talk about shading, because everything else we've had a y by itself, but this one we have an x by itself. Well, the difference is we don't have an above and below. If y is by itself, we always will have an up and a down to shade, but if it's already a vertical line, there's nothing above a vertical line or below a vertical line. So in this case, and in only this case, x is greater than -3. Well, are these numbers greater than -3, or are those numbers greater than -3? The ones on the right are greater than -3. So we want to shade to the right. And the only time we worry about shading left or right is when you have a vertical line like we do here. So we shade to the right of your line, and there we go. If you are asked to graph a system of inequalities, meaning more than one inequality at the same time, you just graph them using the same method we just did and figure out where the two shaded areas overlap. That's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Bye. Thank you.